Hey sister friends, it's Terry from Sisterhood of the Traveling Brush. Today we're going to paint a mailbox. And where I live, everyone has rural mailboxes. This is what everybody has. And I realize in some areas you have the little ones that go on your house. And I think I have videos painting some of those too actually already. But where I live, I need a new mailbox. And so I bought a new mailbox. And then I was thinking, why's it gotta look like that? That don't look like me. It's better than the old yucky black rusty one that's there now. But I want to smile when I see it. You know, it may be full of bills, but by golly, I want to smile when I see it. So we're gonna make it different. No matter what we do, it's gonna be different. I'm gonna put Slick Stick on first. This is a Dixie Belle product because this plastic may have trouble with paint adhering. So we're gonna need to put a good primer on here first, an adhesion primer. That's the differences in primers. There are blocking primers like Dixie Belle Boss that would block stains on here or block odors on here, or there's primers that are adhesion primers like Slick Stick that make paint stick to slick surfaces. So this is slick. You would use that on like Formica and glass and any other slick surface. Then I decided I would use silk paint because silk has a built-in, tough as nails top coat. Also has a built-in stain blocker, but we don't need that right now, but it ain't gonna hurt for it to be there. It's gonna make it tougher. And this stuff has like UV protection and water resistant and all that brouhaha. So this is what we're gonna use, and we're gonna make this mailbox our own. So now I'm gonna point you down and we're gonna get busy with it. Hint this Slick Stick if you want. If I wanted to go with gray over this or whatever, I could add some black or add some color. I'm not gonna worry about it. It's already white. I'm gonna put this on here. You can use whatever, I feel static on here. You can use whatever brush you want to. I'm using the Dixie Belle Premium Chip Brush, but you could use a, what do you call it? A foam brush or whatever you have, because for your primer, let's see how we're gonna do that. I know I have to leave this red. That's like a postal law or something. We're gonna get this all on here and let it dry real good and be ready to paint. I'm not worried about the back side of this flag too much. If it would bother you, you could tape that off. I tried to feel inside to see if I could pull it out of there, but it wasn't gonna be easy, and I want this to be an easy, quick process. I'm not gonna do this inner part, so I'm gonna close that back for right now and get all of this pretty stuff here. This does not have to be like all in one direction or anything like that, because it's really not gonna matter. And what I usually do is slap it all on, best I can slap it on, and then come back and make it all be in one direction. I'm a rule follower when it comes to all kinds of stuff, but especially this, making sure to prime and prep and all those things on my piece before I paint it, because I don't want to have to come back and mess with this again later. I also like when I'm done with something, I want to be done with it. I don't want to have to come back and fix this later because I did a crappy job the first time. Okay, I lied. I couldn't take it. I'm cleaning this off now and I'm going to tape it up. So while this Slick Stick is still wet, I'm just wetting a paper towel and wiping it back off. Thinking about coming back and making this little circular part here like gold or something. So, but anyways, we're going to get this other part. Color I'm choosing, and I do like this, is Mojave. And I'm doing this because I don't want the whole thing to just be bright and jumping out there, you know, running out at the gate. I want it to be subtle in the background, but then just have small amounts of the colorful flowers or whatever I end up putting on here throughout it, so the whole thing doesn't stick out. We're going to do the background a little more of a subtle color. While the Slick Stick is drying, I'm going ahead and getting the paint mixed up. Probably the second silk color that I ever used. Also one of my favorites. See, it's a lot thinner and still has a lot of the, I mean, that's not water on top. That's top coat, and that's stain blocker and odor blocker and UV protection and moisture barrier, all that kind of stuff. So you want that to be mixed in very well with your paint. You want every brush stroke to have some of that in it. Very, very highly pigmented. I think I've got these others mixed up pretty well, except for this one. This one is, I wanted this color, and this is Dixie Belle Lucky Lavender. And this was the main color I had in mind thinking about the Mailbox. The Harbor, that teal color, was the second. And all of these others were just, I was like a kid in a candy store grabbing them. They make little whisks for this with this particular one. I should have shook it up real well first or got the little whisk, but I'm going to use what I've got right here, which is elbow grease and a craft stick. I'm going to be applying the main coat with my Dixie Belle Mini, and then with the other paints for the designs, I'm just grabbing a handful of random brushes, ones that I have in my art bag that's right here beside us. So most of them are 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch flats, and there may be a couple angles. There's one little round in case we need it. Okay, the slick stick is dry, and now we're gonna put our silk Mojave all over the Mailbox. Same way we did the slick stick. Slap it on. We'll put 2 coats of this on here. So I'm not laying it on really, really thick. I do want to get a decent first coat on here. But I'm not trying to get full coverage with the first coat. This is such a pretty color. Reminds me of the fall. This is real art, so it doesn't matter if it has a little bit of texture to it. We're not trying to make it as smooth as if it came out of the factory with colored plastic. This is hand painted, and having a little bit of texture is the bonus round. When this dries, I'll turn it upside down and make sure I get that under part really good. I'm going to be a little bit more careful because we want the U.S. mail texture, words approved by the Postmaster General and all that to show up at the end. I may go over them with something else, I may not, but I want to get this in there real good and make sure that it's not thick in the corners or anything like that. I've been going with all this drying time. You can see I've sat the lids back on the paint. I haven't put them on there good. This one I left my brush in it because I knew I would be coming back to it. So we are gonna put on another coat. And I'm gonna go get busy with another project and come back in a couple of hours. Now, when it comes to decorating your mailbox, or decorating my mailbox, just do whatever you want. I'm gonna put some flowers on mine. I have a couple of greens here. This is Hampton Olive, is very dark and muted. And then we have Cactus, which is also a dark green. And in this phase, I'm also gonna use some Harbor, which is like a muted kind of a teal color. I'm just gonna grab probably this is, oh, that's probably 3/4 of an inch, something like that, just flat. And we're just gonna randomly put leaves all over this thing. Doesn't have to make any sense, and I'm always so careful about trying to make my leaves just so and all that, and I'm gonna try not to do that on here. Every time they try to get too good, I'm gonna try to smash them out a little bit, because I really want this more, I don't know, blurry, I guess would be a better way to put it. I don't want it to be people looking too hard for wanting it to be just right, because it's not going to be just right. And I'm going to vary up the size on them and put in quite a bit. And I'm just expecting this Hampton olive to be sort of like the shadowy, deepest part of the leaves. Leaves and vines and whatever all else it may end up being. But what I'm basically doing here is going back in, flick that out, and trying to thin it out if I'm leaving a big chunk in any one area. I'm going to leave that blank down there. Do some smaller ones. And what I'm trying to do is have them all come from this one central location, as if this was a bouquet or a bouquet, depending on where you're from, and you were holding it from the middle. This is where all the leaves would be. The other side, we'll turn this around later, but right now I'm just wanting to get a little bit on here so that we can move on to the other colors. Okay, what I'm going to pretend here is that the sun is coming from the front, going to the back. So we're going to put the lighter color toward the front, the darker color, which is this Hampton olive, toward the back, and we're just going to put a little bit of this harbor here and there. So now I'm just going to come with this one and do mostly the same places as I just did the Hampton olive. Same size brush and everything. And just going to go right over these and not try to make it perfect. Not try to make it fit all in, go all the way down, any kind of anything. But making sure that I leave some of the darker color in the back each time. That'll just help with the light of it. Just made a few drips, which are also cool. Doing this with my left hand now because my right shoulder is in such pain. And using your non-dominant hand like that also can help you not to be so strategic with the placement of your strokes and all that kind of stuff. Use as much or as little paint as you want. Remember, I'm wanting it to have a little bit of, what do you call it, texture to it. Round brush for the next, because I'm not going to put as much. I want this to show up because I like it, and the brightness of it is going to make me happy. But I'm going to be a little more purposeful about where I put it. And I'm trying to put it on the front side of these. Of the ones that the sun would be hitting good. I'm trying not to contaminate my paint by wiping off when I need to. This is just where a glimmer of light's hitting each one. A This is gonna be covered up by flowers. That's enough of that one. Now we're gonna let it dry again. While this leaf paint is drying, I'm gonna put the 1268 right here. Let's see what we're gonna do. We're gonna use the red, so it won't match with our flowers, but it'll match with our flag, which is fine. I'm just using my Posca markers. I may paint over this, but it's easier to me to get the first layer on with the marker. Yeah, grabbed a few more random brushes, some little 1/2 inchers, and I rinsed out my round, and I've got that little angle, probably maybe a 1/2 inch, maybe a 1/4 of an inch. Anyways, now this is the side you hadn't been seeing that I've been getting up to go paint. And we are just gonna, let's look and see what we got. That's a green. We've got this muted light pink, this purpley pale color, and this bright pink, which is the star of the show. So I think what we're going to do first is this kind of muted one. This one is Desert Rose, Desert Collection. Now that's what the name of it was. And we're just going to kind of do the same thing and put some color here and there of what's going to be the base and the size of the flowers. Some larger, some smaller, but we'll go mainly with these same colors. Let's see. Here will be our biggest flower anyway. So we know that's going to be there. That's huge. That's huge. Oops. Let's put some little small drips coming out of it here and there. We'll put 3 of those. Remember, we're always kind of trying to work in odd numbers. I'm going to put 2 more on the other side. No rhyme or reason, just getting a little on there. Let's put 1 more right here. Now I'm going to go with Morning Sunrise, which is this pale lavender sort of muted color. So our other colors are going to be darker but brighter, so I'm going to use this as if it was going to be a white and just go toward some of our front tips with it. Trying to pick up a little bit of that underpaint so that we're making a 3rd color here. And I'm going to come back with another little bit of a coat of this one. Now life is going to change right here because we're fixing to add this puppy, the prickly pear. Okay, I've got 2 angles and a round right here. I think I'm going to take the biggest angle because I really want this paint to be the star of the show. But we're just still doing the same thing we've been doing. I love the way it's picking up some of the paint underneath and lightening it a little bit. Just going around in little apostrophes and little C's and little circles and blobs and using the end of my brush, the tip of my brush, the side of my brush. None of it, absolutely none of it matters. That's what's so great about abstract. I'm not going to put a whole lot in these. I'm thinking about snapdragons is what I'm thinking here with these little flowers. We will likely come back with some little more of the light colors in a minute, but we're going to see what's going to happen when we get this last color on. Now we're going to use the Dixie Belle Lucky Lavender. There you go. Very pretty color. On the little faces of your flowers, don't have them all looking straight toward you. Have it looking down a little. See how this one is down from the center and sort of looking that way? That's more natural. this mammy jammy here is huge and fully blown is what it's called. Fully blown out and open. I really think that's it for right now. I'm gonna let this dry, and then I'll probably come back either with my marker or with a fine liner brush and go around and give a little bit of depth to the flowers. But I'm gonna let this dry first, and then we'll come back to that. I decided to just go with the Posca markers on this last part, because why not? I must have dropped one. I thought I had the black. There it is. I am first going to use the white, and these are paint markers. And I've used them all before, so it's already at the top. I'm going to hold it at the end here so that I'll be a little looser with it. To kind of squiggle them. Just kind of outlining it a little bit. Just kind of going with the colors there. Give it a little something, something. I like them to kind of wiggle. I don't see a green marker, and I need a green marker. If you were using paint instead of markers, you would still just have a lot of wet paint, and you would drizzle it with hardly even touching. Use the green first. Get some of the leaves. Goodness. Some of these outer ones, I'm going to put a little stem in there. them all. Now I want to do very similar with the yellow. I think we could put a little yellow in the flowers, or we can put a little yellow on the leaves, or both. I think I'm going to go with the, I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the snapdragons. Maybe a little bit coming up on the bottom of these funky little flowers here, whatever they are. Buds. Just putting one in on the long ones in yellow. We're going to have a few little stamen in here, right? What else do we have? We have the really bright pink. I think we'll put some of that on the tips of these. Around the edges here. And we'll make sure there's plenty of bright color in our roses. I really think that's enough in there, but let's hit it. I didn't put stamen in that one. Let's get it. Okay, now we have dark blue, light blue, black. I really hate using the black because a lot of times that's too much. I'm going to go with the dark blue, and I think we're just going to do the undersides of the flowers with one little squiggle of it. Ooh, look at that one running down. I kind of like that smeared look. I may go back and put more of it. Okay, what I'm not happy with is the green. We're gonna go back with the cactus and use this napkin and just pop a little in there, here and there. Wad that up real good. Offload a little. And we're just kind of smearing around the edges a little. Off. I will put a coat of gator hide on here. That's Dixie Belle toughest top coat. Once all this dries, I'll probably wait till tomorrow morning on that. That's the last thing I'm gonna do, and then we'll just install it. Off. We did not use any, well, that is the, what do you call it? The slick stick right there. I kind of like it looking that way. Go. Definitely a one-of-a-kind mailbox. It will make me smile and make me happy, and I would love to see yours. Make sure and let me know how you get your mail in your neck of the woods. Thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe, and we'll see you next time.